Good afternoon, guys. It's Nick at Optima PS. I hope you're all well. Just wanted to jump on today because I've not actually been on for a while, to be perfectly honest with you. Couple of things. One, I'm moving house, which means I've been playing Handyman all week, which for a guy who's basically a desk monkey, I've actually really enjoyed, to be honest with you. Bit of peace and quiet with no emails and phone calls. And the other side, not much to report on. And I know that sounds strange in the week when the SEC did indeed appeal. But to be honest with you, bit of a nothing burger if you ask me. I always thought they were going to, and I don't mean since the last 60 days. I always thought they were going to appeal it from the moment Judge Torres ruled that XRP wasn't a security. The only big surprise to me is that that's the point they haven't decided to fight, so that's great news in itself. But I wanted to jump on today to talk through some things that I think are incredibly positive at the moment, and I hope you agree with me. Before we get into it, as ever, my name's Nick, you know I'm a financial advisor. I'm not your financial advisor though, so anything I say or do in this video is to be taken as nothing but a bloke sharing his opinion on the internet and is absolutely not financial advice. I just hope you take some value from what I do. So getting into today's video, I say it was a nothing burger with the SEC and the appeal. Why do I say that? Well, because we all knew they were going to do it anyway, and quite frankly, it hasn't affected prices. It's just not, guys. I mean, yeah, okay, XRP hasn't had quite as good a time as some of the others. Funnily enough, I tried to record this video about an hour or two ago, and I did the entire thing without my mic on, so basically the prices have dipped a little bit since then, but the point is, nothing's really changed. I mean, the week has been positive in general. Bitcoin sitting at 68,000, Ethereum 2640, Solana 154.67, XRP 54.4 or 0.5449. XRP hasn't seen quite as big an uplift as some of the others. Dogecoin just below it, look, nearly 31% in a week. But in the same respect, it has been a negative week news-wise, and quite frankly, it must be priced in. Whether it's priced in from actual price action conversations, but also from a emotional point of view, I think everyone that's left in XRP now expected this. Everyone that's, anything like got the ability to swing the price action with their actions, we all knew. And so it's priced in both financially and emotionally, and so I just don't think it made any difference whatsoever. I mean, the big point that's come out of it all is very, very simple. I'll make this point towards the end of the video in more terms, but they haven't appealed the fact that XRP in and of itself is not a security. So it's not one. Full stop. Period. I'll get onto that in a little bit more detail later. But why am I so bullish this week? One or two reasons, really. First one, this is Dark Defender. I don't know if you know Dark Defender. If you don't, give him a follow. He's a good technical analysis, chart analysis guy. It's not actually this post which makes me so bullish. This is one of numerous, countless posts from technical analysis guys who know their stuff, who all think that XRP is about to break out. Yeah, this one's about XRP BTC trying to get its dominance back. Other ones about XRP Ethereum, some about XRP USD. Everything points towards one of these triangles and the fact that we are going to emerge out one way or the other, in fairness, but the most likely way is we're going to come out with an upward trajectory and we're all going to see XRP go up in value considerably. If that's not a reason to be optimistic, I don't know what is, because that's what we're all here for at the end of the day. We're all here to make money from crypto. Whether it's just XRP or whether it's numerous coins is up to you. But I'm an XRP based channel, so I'm guessing you're listening to me because you like XRP. And the simple fact of the matter is, we all think, they all think, all the people with any knowledge and any intelligence in this sector think XRP is going to go up very, very soon. Next point. This post from Uphold is incredibly bullish for one or two reasons. First off, Riple is stepping up its compliance game in a big way. Massive. I'll talk about that in a moment. Here's your XRP report for the week. Number one, we're beyond excited to share that Uphold was awarded the Riple Innovation Award at this year's Swell Conference. Great, I'm pleased. I love Uphold. They're a great company. I think they're owned by Riple, right? It's a bit like me getting man of the match when my dad was the soccer coach. Doesn't really worth boasting about, but still, they still won it, so good on them. As a long-time supporter of Ripple and the ever-expanding XRPL ecosystem, we're honoured to be part of groundbreaking initiatives like RLUSD. and to offer secure self-custody options for XRP. That's the bit I'm over the moon about here. Well, there's two actually. The RLUSD one, if you're not familiar with it, RL is basically Ripple, real US dollars, and it's the stable coin that Ripple are launching to work hand in hand with the XRPL, with XRP as part of their offering, with a hope to bring more money onto the XRP ledger and to provide another stable coin out there. Stablecoin is big business, guys, so if Ripple are getting involved in stablecoin, it's good for Ripple, which I think is good for us in the long run. RLUSD, this is the only bit I'm going to show you. This is something from the Crypto Basic, but this is the only point. RLUSD total supply, it's $47.4 million. This article's a few days old as well. I think it was about the 14th. But basically, they're pumping out, they're minting an awful lot of these now, which tells me they're nearly ready to go. Why is that good? Well, the simple fact of the matter is, a stable coin is good for both Ripple, XRP, like it's part of the ecosystem, and actually, I think it's good for our, let's call it our disgruntlement between the SEC and Ripple, between the US and crypto. So, from a very, very strictly Ripple point of view, it's great. It's a stable coin, it's going to bring money into the crypto market, and it's going to bring that money onto the XRP ledger, which it's designed to work hand in hand with XRP. It won't exclusively work with XRP, but it should work hand in hand with XRP, so it's going to benefit us all in the long term. It just is. I'll do another more in-depth video about RLUSD a little bit closer to full launch or after full launch. I've done a couple already, but plain and simple, it's going to bring more money to the ecosystem, and that's good news for all of us. Plus, we're continuously expanding our listings, yada yada yada. But then the next point with the little briefcase, but that's not all. Ripple is stepping up its compliance game in a big way by appointing former FDIC chair Sheila Bair to its consulting panel. With the upcoming launch of RLUSD, her extensive regulatory expertise will be crucial in navigating the path ahead. That's massive, guys. 2 or 3 reasons. One, another example of Ripple hiring best in class. They need somebody to help with the regulatory side of things when it comes to RLUSD, so they've gone to the very best. Like Monica Long, like all these people they've got, you know, you go back to the early days, David Schwartz from a technical point of view, Brad Garlinghouse as the CEO, they appoint the very, very best. And that is massive. From a regulatory point of view, why is it massive? It's massive for the simple reason, I keep saying this, I have to keep saying it, we don't get what we want out of crypto unless regulation comes. Without regulation, mainstream mass adoption doesn't come, and without mainstream mass adoption, we're sitting at 54 cents on XRP. That's why it's massive. I'm sorry for those of you who wanted this to be completely decentralized. We don't make money off us minuscule 1-2% of people. We just don't. So what we need is we need a world where the entire planet is using crypto. Not just XRP, but crypto. That's what we need. But in a nutshell, that's about it, guys. We need the compliance. If we don't have regulation and compliance, we don't get the mainstream. And if we don't get the mainstream, we don't see the price go up to where we think it's going to go up to. That's, you know, and that's about retail. Never mind when we get onto the wholesale, the big businesses, the banks. We need the regulations in place. We just do. And if you're going to have regulations, you want somebody like this lady steering you through that regulatory compliance maze, as it probably is best described, getting us where we need to be without accidentally triggering anything else. Let's be honest, Ripple is always going to be under the SEC spotlight, just waiting for them to slip up, so they need the best in class. Moving forwards, so we've already looked at the RLUSD. Next one, Fruition Productions. If you don't know these guys, give them a follow as well. These are the people making the XRP Unleashed video, movie, whatever you want to call it, documentary. It looks great. I've seen a trailer. Basically, what this is, they're coming out saying, look, the screening premieres are sold out. So it's sold out in Scottsdale, Arizona. I think I saw sold out in LA. They're selling out, which is great. But don't take too much from that, guys. The problem with this is, the people buying the seats at those screenings, let's be honest, they're not huge theatres, are they? The people buying the seats at those screenings are already sold on XRP, Ripple, technology, crypto, this entire sector. These aren't the guys we need to convince. These are the guys like you and me who can't wait to see it. We then need to pass this on to our families and friends. A, to show them how great this is so they understand what we mean. B, all these ones that think we're crazy, and you know what I mean. You sit around the dinner table and somebody will sit there and go, oh, yeah, magic internet money, you're all crazy, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's this, that. We need them to see. We're never going to get global mass adoption unless everybody is on board with this. We don't need them to see for the whole world to adopt crypto in the way that XRP and Ripple and the XRPL needs it. Most of them won't know. I've said this before. For me to transfer from one bank to another, I don't know how they do it if I'm a normal everyday guy. My grandpa wouldn't know how they do it. The average guy in the street doesn't know how they do it. They don't care. I press send and it goes from my bank to your bank and you've got the money now, job done. What we do need them to do is we need them to go into the bank and say, hey, how come these guys can send my money in 2 seconds and charge me less than a penny? And you guys are charging me $30 for 3 weeks? I want the new way, please. We need everybody to want the new way to put the pressure on the banks to make the banks do it. Plain and simple. The banks aren't going to give up a cash cow like they've got if the people don't want it. The banks are going to give up the cash cow because there'll be a tipping point where too many competitive banks are offering it. We need everybody to be asking so that all the banks jump together. You want that switch to be flipped? We can help flip it by telling the masses that there is a switch that could be flipped. No one ever flips a switch they don't know is there. That's where we're at with that one. I hope that makes sense. Moving through, I've got the Bearable Bull. Guys, if you don't know this guy, give him a follow again. Not everybody loves him because he's very blunt with the way he makes his points, but I think he's normally on the point, and I think I like the way he says it. So, if you are still paying attention to the XRP case, you are missing the plot. Below is a timeline of the lawsuit where simultaneously if you're a Brit, the macro crypto environment is extremely bullish. An XRP ETF is on standby and the RLUSD stablecoin will be remembered as a game changer. This is not a drill. The train has left the station, but you still have a chance to enter at these levels. Don't take it for granted. Guys, it's this point here. An XRP ETF is on standby. Yeah, I'm going to take that back a bit. An XRP ETF is in planning, in processing, in the early days of being on standby, let's say. But his point is really simple. The XRP ETF is coming. 2 or 3, we're now looking at numerous companies, investment houses are applying to the SEC to launch an XRP ETF. They're not going to give it day one. They never do. They'll reject it for whatever reason they can. They don't like to give these things out. They especially won't like it being XRP. But the simple fact is there will be a tipping point where they have to do it. Why is an XRP ETF so important? One, it brings big money to the table, plain and simple. Look at the Bitcoin one. We won't get as much as Bitcoin in the early days. No two ways about it. As well, the Bitcoin was the most successful ever launched ETF. Yeah, we won't get one. Ethereum's not done as well so far. You get a bit of wobble in the price in the early days as well. But the simple point is it brings XRP to the mainstream. Right now, if I walk down the street, if I ask 100 people what's the price of XRP, Solana, Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, they haven't got a clue. They probably don't even know what they are. 9 out of 10. If I ask 100, 95 out of 100, 5 might be able to tell me with a degree of accuracy the price of Bitcoin, and they might be able to tell me with a degree of accuracy what Ethereum and XRP and Solana are. Not many can go much further than that. My own clients are definitely at the live wire side when it comes to their investments. They are the people that seek out a financial advisor and say, hey, I want to do more with my money than just what the bank offer. I want to buy shares. I want to buy mutual funds. I want to buy structured notes. I want to buy, whatever it might be, ETFs. Even those guys can't tell you much about crypto. What the ETF will do is it will bring us to the mainstream. All the big pension companies will put a bid in. Then all the people that own a pension will go, oh, what's this XRP ETF you bought me that's done so well last year? It brings us to the mainstream, and that's why that's so bullish. The next point, realistically speaking, there is an element of if they approve an XRP ETF, and they really have no excuses now because they've already not appealed the fact that XRP in and of itself is not a security, so that's basically to the bank now. So they don't really have any reason to deny an XRP ETF. They might talk about low volumes and things to begin with. It'll take a few tries, but eventually they'll approve it. What the SEC will eventually realise, I doubt it will be under Gary Gensler's stewardship, but eventually someone at the SEC will realise, well, actually, we're in a really strange place right now. So we currently have absolutely nothing to do with XRP at all. Now that this court case is done, they're trying to get a bit more of a fine and they're trying to be an asshole about it all. But XRP in itself is not a security. They've got nothing there. If there's an ETF, they suddenly have an element of an observation again, because the ETF will be a security. That will be under the Securities and Exchange Commission, so they get a chance to keep at least a finger on the pulse. Like with the RLUSD stablecoin as well. I've done a different video on this, but just going back to it, I think stablecoins will be the saviour of the US dollar. I know that sounds dramatic. No two ways about it. The US dollar is losing its global stature as the global reserve currency. Probably not as quickly as people are talking. Probably not as dramatically as they make it sound when you look at it. But the BRICS nations have basically came up with a solution to the fact that sometimes the US will weaponize the dollar. That sounds dramatic as well, but it's true. Placing a trade sanction on a country is weaponizing the US dollar, because you mean they can't use things like SWIFT or the US dollars to transact, and most people require those tools, and so it is weaponizing the dollar. They've tried to find a way around it. That's bad for the US and the US dollar, but stable coins keep the US dollar relevant, because quite frankly, if you think about it, if I have a US dollar backed stablecoin, then for every coin I need a dollar. Which means if we've got billions, trillions of dollars sat in USD stablecoins, we've got trillions of dollars sat on the ledger propping up the US dollar via government bonds and the dollar itself. And so what that really means is it keeps the US dollar relevant without the countries thinking it's relevant. They can't weaponize the dollar anymore, but the value of the dollar still has to be maintained. And so it could end up being the saviour of the dollar in this great de-dollarization. I hope that makes sense. Moving on, I don't want to go on all day. We're 17 minutes in already. Post from me. This was a while back now. I told you I had to redo the video because I didn't have a mic on. I'm not the greatest tech whiz kid, I'll be honest with you. But my very, very, very simple tweet. Just a reminder, XRP is not a security. When the SEC made this appeal, they had a chance to appeal the fact that XRP in and of itself is a security or is not. You can argue it's not been a security for a year now. You can certainly argue that, and I agree with you, it was not, but there was a chance it could be questioned and become a security again if they appealed it. By not appealing it, by the omission of that from the appeal, the SEC may as well have great big neon signs and a big man on a big megaphone screaming from the rooftop of the SEC building, XRP is not a security. They're not going to do that. They're not going to advertise it, but that's the truth. XRP is not a security. Stamped, signed, sealed, done. It's over, guys. It's over. As far as you and I are concerned, it's over. Yes, there's still a few ghosts of the SEC hanging around Ripple that might affect huge pushes on price, but they shouldn't be there. It's just a stigma that's attached with it. From our point of view, from an investor's point of view, from a bank's point of view, moving forwards from this point, XRP is not a security. That excuse is gone now. If global adoption from the banks doesn't happen, it's not because of the SEC anymore. It's just not. Signed, sealed, stamped, not a security. Bullish as bullish can be. Possibly the best news I've had in 5 years. Final one. This is a message from me. It's a tweet I put out. It's had 66 views so far because I only just did it before I began recording. Crypto is a new sector, still in its infancy. We can honestly call it Uncharted Territory. Now that's a bit of a jibe at some of the TA, and one TA guy in particular actually. And by the way, I think he's very good. His charts are accurate and he does well. But he's this guy that constantly jumps on, and his favourite phrase is "don't know what you hold," with inverted commas. He tries to come out and say there is nothing that drives the price of these markets except for price action and technical analysis. There's nothing else to it, and that simply isn't true. Crypto is 15 years old. How can you apply trading and charting techniques from 100 years ago? Yeah. The origin of the statement comes from seafarers, right? Charting territory was you would base, or you know, from land, but I'm using sea as the analogy here. You're off sailing in your ship, you've got charts, someone else has shown you where the mud banks are as you sail down the river, or where the rocks are, where the icebergs are, where there's, you know, an underwater volcano. That's what the charts did. Without you being able to see it yourself, you used previously mapped charts to make sure you don't run aground, to make sure you don't hit night or whatever it might be. When you went into new unexplored territory, be it the ocean, a river, or actually just, you know, land as well, it was called Uncharted because there's no maps for it. No one had been there before to be able to map it. How the hell can you use a chart that dates back to 1902, you know, Wyckoff, any one of these systems, you know, Elliott Wave? They're 100 years old. So to use those, apply those to crypto in its infancy, I'm not going to say is irrelevant because I think they actually do work to a certain degree, but it's very, very arrogant and probably foolish to believe they will work as well on a brand new uncharted investment as they do on the S&P 500, for example, where it's been proven to work for 50, 60 years. It's just a simple fact. And to assume that charts are the only accurate way of predicting the success of anything is ridiculous, in my opinion. And so I go on, I say, look, the one true thing remains. One thing remains true, though, which has stood. I put here the time of time because I wasn't concentrating when I typed it, and I've already tweeted it out now. But which has stood the test of time, that should say. No matter the sector or the period in history or the political climate or anything else, if you begin with adequate resources and you build the best company with the best global talent, if you create the best product which offers the best solution to a global real world problem, you will succeed. Period. Full stop. Yeah. Now, in my line of work, what I do for people is I go out and I research investments. I don't use charts. I can use charts. I do use charts sometimes for certain things, but I research first from top to bottom the company you are going to be investing into. That's what I do. And if everything, all the fundamentals are there, then we consider other things. We look at charts, how they perform, where they're going, what they're about to do. But if you begin with adequate resources, let's tick that box. Yeah, whether you liked it or not, whether the SEC liked it or not, there was an ICO at the beginning of this company, give or take, and that ICO meant they began life with a balance sheet of billions of dollars. That is one hell of a starting life. Yeah. Back in the day, your Microsofts, your Apples of this world, even your Amazons, they didn't have that luxury. They began with a good idea from somebody's utility room, back office, from a shed in the garden. They began with very, very small capital. We've all seen that Steve Jobs movie. They're running around, scratching around, looking for investment. That's how they started in the olden days. And so sometimes great ideas from great thinkers never made it because they didn't have the money to bridge the gap between the idea and the fruition of that idea. That is not a problem to Ripple. They've got billions on the balance sheet. Yeah. And you build the best company. They're using that money to build the best company. How are they doing it? With the best global talent. I've done a video on this before. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole again, but I've shown you the CVs of the people they are hiring. They go to the very best in the world and they take them from whatever company they are currently working at and they make sure they offer them enough money to work for Ripple. This is happening on a day-to-day basis. We saw it before with the lady Sheila Bair, yeah, the former FDIC chair. They hire the very, very best in class to make sure they have the best talent in their company. If you create the best product, I think we all agree that the XRPL is the best product. If we just go with the original concept, which was cross-border transactions in general, yeah, the old format was I send money from my bank to your bank. It takes 3 weeks. It costs me $30. Sometimes it bounces back minus the $30, and I have to start again, and you still didn't get your money. Yeah, that happens about 1 in 10, something like that. Still, it's something that was began in, 50, 60 years ago, and we're still using it. It's archaic. The new structure is something which vastly improves on the existing structure. I've not even touched on real world asset tokenization. That is something I'm absolutely certain Ripple now have their eye on. That's probably the end game. I think the cross-border transactions, the currency transactions, this is something to make the company successful in the early days, and I think the real target is the real world asset tokenization. They're also the best at that. If you do your own research, take a look at it. There is no one offering a better solution. Some are offering a similar solution. I don't think they're going to be the only winner in this. I don't think they're going to be the only player in both sides of this, but they are offering the best product. And the difference is you're improving on no product when it comes to asset tokenization. You currently don't have the ability to tokenize and digitalize these assets, and you're improving on a 50-year-old terrible archaic structure when it comes to the cross-border transactions, or just the digital transaction, any transaction. So what you're actually looking at is you are vastly improving both sides. So someone will come out, oh, but you come out with a 10-minute abs, I'll come out with a 9-minute abs, right? But we're talking about taking 3 weeks to 3 seconds and $30 to 3 cents. If someone comes out with 2 minutes and 2 cents, that, or 2 seconds and 2 cents, that doesn't change things substantially. And that's going to happen 10 years down the line. I think Ripple has the lion's share of this market for the next 50 years. How do you improve on 3 seconds and 3 cents? Really? Yeah, 2 seconds and 2 cents. Maybe 2 seconds and 0.00000 cents, 1 cent, something like that. But you're not improving on that anytime soon. There's no business model in it at 0.00001 cents. The business model still has to be there. I don't think you're improving on this, in our lifetimes at least. Yeah. You are solving a real world problem with the best solution. If you begin with adequate resources and you build the best company with the best global talent, if you create the best product which offers the best solution to a global real world problem, you will succeed. Ripple, XRP is what I put at the bottom there. Why have I put that? Because that's the only bit that's relevant to me and you. No one cares if Ripple succeeds if we don't have a piece of the pie. Right? Now, going back to that lawsuit, are we relying upon Ripple to improve our investment? No, we're not, because we're not owners of Ripple. Ripple could go through the roof in value without XRP. It's not going to happen, but it could. Yeah, if Ripple is sat on that train leaving the station in the first class seat, XRP is sat on the seat next to it, I promise you. Why? Because they've been designed to work together hand in hand, because they are intrinsically linked. Ripple's got more XRP than anyone else on this planet. Trust me, they want it to go up in value. Yeah. More importantly, how does it help us? Well, XRP, we don't own Ripple. There's not been an IPO. None of us have got shares in Ripple. Perhaps some people with a lot of money got in as an early investor there, but we do not have shares in Ripple. We have shares in XRP. I came up with a great analogy before when I was doing my first video. I liked it. Tell me what you think, because maybe only I think it's a great analogy. But I said, imagine in the early days of Apple, you want shares in the company, but they're not worth anything. There's not been an IPO yet. And you say to Steve Jobs, listen, I want a piece of this pie. He says, I'm sorry, you can't do that, but hey, here's shares in the electricity company, and every time somebody on planet Earth uses a computer, you get paid a little bit a piece of the cost of their electricity. Or same with Henry Ford and a car. You can't buy shares in Ford, but hey, here's shares in the gas company. Every time somebody fills their car with gas, you get paid a little bit a piece of the profits on the sale of the gas. That's what we've got, guys. We've got the fuel that drives Ripple. Nobody uses Ripple services without using XRP, give or take. There's going to be a few exceptions to that with RLUSD and things like that, but pretty much nobody uses Ripple without using XRP. The more people that hold and use XRP, the scarcer it gets, the more valuable it gets, and that's what we're here for. I hope you like that analogy, guys. Let me know in the comments if you did or didn't. It'd be interesting to see if it made sense. Listen, I've been yapping on for 29 minutes. I really do appreciate you sticking with me for 30 minutes. I hope I brought some value. I just wanted to share some positive news. That's where I think we're at in a nutshell with XRP right now. It's all good, guys. We are going to see this thing succeed. It may not be this week, next week, the week after. It might not even be this bull run, although I strongly suspect it will. But if it's not, I will not be deterred from the fact that I believe I own a piece of the fuel that drives the best invention, the best innovation, the most important innovation we're likely to see in our lifetimes. And that's why I'm bullish on XRP. Guys, thanks very much for your time. Please do click that like button if you like what I said today. Please do drop me a comment. I love to hear back from you. Tell me if you like the analogy or not, because it just popped into my head before when I was talking and I thought it was a good one. In the meantime, it's a Saturday evening now, my time. It's probably Saturday morning for you. Have a great weekend ahead. All the best. We'll speak soon. Nick.